afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I am Lori with Levelset, and I am the Payment Professionals Community Manager, just trying to bring credit managers together and get some exposure out there. Today, we are going to interview the July Credit Manager of the Month, Dan Simpson. And my screen didn't move. There you go, with Kodiak Building Partners. Thanks for being with us today, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely, Lori. I'm glad we can be here. Seeing all the LinkedIn notifications and emails come through was an honor. I really appreciate all the recognition. So happy to be here.
Well, from what I read about the nomination, you highly deserve it, and you'll actually find all that out on Thursday at the meet and greet. So the first question we'll ask is, if you were an animal, what would you be?
Well, Lori, I know before we hit record, we were talking about my new 11-week-old black lab puppy, and now that he's been just the center of attention for the last couple weeks, just seeing how much he enjoys life and sniffing and running around, I got to say the dog life it would be fun. So, it's definitely some recency bias there, but I'd have to say a puppy would be a fun animal to be.
Definitely, especially when you get all those naps.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a favorite quote?
Not necessarily. I really love music. Love going to live concerts and checking out, new music on Spotify. So I'm definitely, into lyrics, though my favorite lyrics can change, daily or weekly. So I don't necessarily have a quote or song lyric that, is memorized or engraved or anything like that, but just any message that has, any positivity or motivation behind it is usually something that I can get behind.
That's awesome. So you like music so much. Do you play an instrument?
I did. Yeah, and not to jump the gun on one of your questions, I think you asked, one of your questions was, if I wasn't doing, what I'm doing right now with Kodiak, with credit, what would I, do? And this was actually my answer was, all talents aside, I'd love to play music. I'd love to tour the country, if not the world, and play music for people. Granted, I'd have to be talented to do that. But I did grow up playing the drums. I was the drum line in high school and played a little bit of drum set as well. My buddies and I were in a band growing up. Nothing serious. I think we played a couple pizzerias, when we were younger, but I haven't played in a long time. But would love to dabble again one day.
It might be like riding a bike. You just never forget.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what drew you to Kodiak?
Well, I moved out to Colorado in October of 2019. My girlfriend and I were doing long distance, and I wanted to move out here and be with her. So I opened my interview search, and Kodiak popped up, and I saw a lot of parallels to, my former employer, and, a lot of just aspects that would translate to, my former experience, but also I could tell that it was a great transition for me to move forward in my career, and went into the interview with a very open mind. Thought it was going to be a pretty standard run-of-the-mill interview, but next thing you know, I was chatting with my now boss, Jen Martin, for multiple hours, and I realized what might have been a good fit was actually the perfect fit. It's a company that allows me to have a pretty immediate footprint, which was a huge draw. Again, didn't really know until I interviewed, but left the interview feeling really, really positive, really great, and sure enough, got an offer, and it's been kind of hitting the ground running since then.
So did you do credit before you got to Kodiak?
I did, yes. I worked for Ferguson for 4 years. Started in South Carolina for about 10 months, and then moved to Texas, where I was in different branches along the next 3.5 years. So had some credit experience before this.
That's awesome. So before Kodiak, and I guess before Ferguson, not including music, what was the most unusual or interesting job that you had growing up?
Yeah, well, never was a semi-professional, basketball player or anything fun like that. But I did work a lot of part-time jobs, starting as early as the age of 14.
Wow.
Our snack bar at our community pool in New Jersey, dishing out hot chicken tenders and things like that. But I guess the big thing for me was when I was in college. Fortunately, my parents had a beach condo down at the Jersey Shore, with Stone Harbor, New Jersey. If anyone listening, or Lori, if you ever get a chance to go, it's a beautiful part of the country.
I
But
remember
all
that.
4 years, or
Hmm.
all 4 years of undergrad, I spent the summers working down at the shore, as a busboy, as a food runner, as a delivery driver. So that was a lot of fun. You're in paradise on your days off, and even the days you are working. Most people are on vacation, so that you can
Yeah.
expect them to be in somewhat of a good mood, which always helps. So yeah, I would say that would be my interesting jobs.
Awesome. I like that. I'll have to check that place out.
Yeah.
How has Kodiak helped you in your career development?
Um, it's definitely enhanced my leadership skills. My position currently is talking with a lot of our credit managers and even operating presidents at all of our various Kodiak business units.
Nice.
So just kind of understanding the bigger picture, especially being in this like headquarter HQ position. You really have to understand how each business operates to then how it all rolls up into Kodiak as a whole. So just understanding big picture thinking, and I would just say becoming a little more comfortable with leadership skills. Public speaking is not necessarily my strong suit, but I've definitely been thrown in the water to advance that, which has been great. So yeah, it's definitely pushed me and challenged me to move forward in my career.
That's awesome. Yeah, when you become a credit manager, you don't usually think of public speaking, but I mean, the entire
Right.
job basically is public speaking. So that I didn't even think about that, but that is a good trait there. Do you have any advice for prospective candidates? And let me elaborate on that. Right now, credit managers is kind of a dying breed. There's no people that are coming up. We need to find, the younger people, tell them about it, tell them what, steps they can take to become a credit manager, get out in those schools, let people know they actually exist. So what would you tell somebody, if you wanted to turn them into credit management?
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess I would sell it to how I was sold back when I was at you know, a career fair in college. Was I was a finance major, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't think I wanted to go into investment banking or corporate finance or anything like that. All I really knew was I liked numbers, but I also liked talking to people. And I like I said, I came from Ferguson, and the recruiter did a great job of saying, okay, well, you want to be in finance, you want to be in sales, why not credit? It's kind of a little bit of both.
Mhm.
And that's a very summarized way of saying it, but I couldn't agree more, because when you put a bunch of credit managers in a room, or especially in a bar or anything like that, we might be as rambunctious or talkative as the sales team. I find that credit managers have a very outgoing personality,
Mhm.
and very very chatty personality.
Definitely.
So I think credit is a great hybrid of people that want to be engaged and you know heavily involved with sales and operations without necessarily being in those specific roles.
Right.
Um, you know, I guess that would be my best advice. And then just as a candidate in general, just sharing your experiences, showcasing your experiences. A lot of the time your experience isn't going to necessarily translate perfectly
Right.
to something you're applying for, but everybody has work experience or personal experience, or something that happened to you while you're in college, or at a part-time job, or whatever it may be, that you can use to your advantage. So I would just say stress those experience points.
So I like that. And I like the hybrid just the word for that finance and sales thing. That's a great way to explain it.
Yeah.
So what are three career lessons that you think you've learned this far?
I would say patience is a big one. Especially being younger in my career, you have to be patient to get to the next level.
Right.
Just as a whole, as a career progression, but also in credit, you have to be patient with customers and coworkers, especially during COVID. When people truly aren't getting paid, you have to understand where they're coming from, and you don't want to let them walk all over you by any means, but at the same time, you want to be patient as long as they're following up on their promises and sticking with what they tell you.
Mhm.
As long as you can find a resolution, be patient in those conversations.
Mhm.
And then just kind of what would go hand in hand with that is empathy. Again, especially in the last year and a half, is just putting yourself in other shoes and understanding their situation.
Mhm.
Um, you know, Calling them or emailing them as a human first and foremost, as opposed to, hey, you owe us $10,000. Where is it?
Yeah.
As much as we want to say that sometimes in credit, just understanding, hey, is everything okay? I know this world is kind of crazy right now. What can I do to help? I think just being empathetic is huge, and then learning from failure would be the third one for me. Mistakes are going to be made. Mistakes are going to continue to be made, but just learning from those is a big thing. I think especially in my young career, you want to perfect things. You want to get the attention of others and all that, but you can't be afraid to make mistakes. As long as you're learning from them.
Right. And sometimes that's the best way to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Sink or swim.
That's right. What would people never guess that you actually do in your current career or position?
In my current role, yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I think when we're in credit, everybody kind of has their hands in a lot of different things. But
Mhm.
for me, I do a lot of reporting and analysis for all of our businesses. But one thing that I do that's not the reporting that takes up half my time is really coordinating with our various credit partners. The contracts that we have in place. Make sure that our credit managers in the field are getting the proper training to be able to take advantage of these resources, how to understand, how to read a credit report, um, you know, what's the meat and potatoes that goes in a report that's not just the FICO score, um, things like that. Just making sure that, the training that we have available is being taken advantage of. That way they can, you have that they have those resources available to them so they can make their own, decisions at their own, businesses.
No, I like that you guys kind of start with the basics. People get credit reports all the time. And like you said, they don't know what they're looking at, especially,
Right.
different people that produce them. Yeah, I like that. So we already know what you would do for a career would be music. What kind of hobbies other than your dog and music do you have?
Well,
Anything?
living in the great state of Colorado, we're very, very outdoorsy. Every season we're going to get a ski pass. I
Nice.
personally snowboard. It's something I've done since I was, 13 years old. So snowboarding is a great way to escape and enjoy yourself. And then the summer times out here, obviously hiking and camping, exercising, things like that. Um, I'd mentioned music a couple times. Going to live concerts is huge. Just the social aspect of that. Um, yeah, and then obviously you can see my home office in the basement. Playing darts and unwinding and things like that are always enjoyable.
Definitely. All right. What three words would your friends use to describe you?
Um, I would probably say reliable. I'm usually one that follows up on my word. Whether it comes to plans that we make or expectations, or with me at my age, there's a lot of weddings coming up for friends, and just being try to do my best to get there and being reliable, and even just as simply as calling friends, for somebody you haven't talked to in a few months, just to catch up with them. I feel like that's been strong, for me, and I should be better at it. I think everybody can be better at it, but yeah, that would definitely be one. And then just a planner. I noticed probably since high school, high school, college till now, I've always been the one that plans things. If we're going to grab a bite, if we're going for a 3-day weekend or a 5-day vacation, I'm usually the one that puts together a loose itinerary. Searching the best restaurants or breweries or places to check out. I'm usually the one that does that, and I don't mind taking the lead on that. I actually enjoy it. And then I guess the last thing would be witty. Um, you know, I
Tell
just
that.
I like a good play on words. Whether I say it or I hear it, I just I guess dad jokes would be a fun way of saying that, but witty in general is a fun one.
Yeah. I hear dad jokes all the time. My daughter always says that. It's funny, your first two, actually, even with the witty, they all sound like a credit manager. It's like your friends are describing you in the position that you're in.
Yeah, funny how that works.
It is.
We'll wrap up, but Lori, I really appreciate you having me, and to my boss Jen Martin, thanks for
Mhm.
nominating me and mentoring me for the last year and a half. And
Did she
I'm
tell you
glad
she nominated you?
she did. She did.
Oh, okay. It was supposed to be
Um,
a surprise.
yeah, it was. I knew it was coming because she asked me for headshots. So
Ah,
Kat was kind of out of the bag.
gotcha.
But no, I'm happy to receive, I guess, the inaugural award for this, and looking forward to hearing more credit managers of the month in the future.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time. And like I said, your gift is on its way. And we look forward to seeing you on Thursday.